But I want to start with Ephesians chapter 6, which needs to be a constant reminder to all of us. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, and rulers in high places. And I'm going to keep saying it. It never gets old because we oftentimes engage with what we can see. And so we've got to repeatedly be reminded about what we can't see. And so Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12 says, for our struggle. So all of us are struggling, but we often need a reminder that our struggle is not against flesh or blood. It's against rulers. Everybody say rulers. It's against authorities. Everybody say authorities. It's against the powers of the dark world and against spiritual forces of evil in heavenly realms. There's a lot there. We're going to begin to talk about the demonic now. So I'm going to shift from talking about you to talking about the implications of you engaging with the demonic. So what we see in Ephesians chapter 6 is designations of authority. We see a hierarchy and we see layers and levels. And so the reminder was given by the apostle in Ephesians 6, we struggle not against flesh and blood, but against rulers. So who are these rulers? Because when I said the rulers, the term rulers, almost all of you thought about humans. But there are demons that are designated as rulers. Rulers have territories, right? I just met with the mayor of Portage, Indiana, had an incredible conversation. And he said, because of the way that you guys park your cars at the Indiana location, next 4th of July, would you be willing to help us park all the cars of 10,000 people? And if you do, we will put on every parking lot in the city that's designated for that event, sponsored by V1 Church. And then we'll allow your parking team to hand brochures out for your church to all of the people. That's crazy. I had a meeting with the parking team before this service to tell them that story. And then I told them that when we get a building on Long Island and we're able to have a parking team again, we're going to combine them from coast to coast and we're going to celebrate what God is doing. But let me just say this. Why do I even bring that up? Because there's an authority that the ruler of Portage has over that land. And because we have favor with the government, we are given unprecedented access to park the cars of Muslims, Hindus, atheists, agnostics. You get what I'm saying? And then it's going to say sponsored by V1 Church and then hand brochures out for our church. And that was his idea, not ours. So we understand the implications of a ruling being made by a ruler. Because when the mayor says we can do it, okay, I'm gonna go deep. When the mayor says that we can do it, we have the full backing of the authority, which is the police department behind the mayor, which will enforce what he said. So there is a threat of physical violence. There are people whose job is to carry out by force the ruling made by a ruler. Are y'all picking up on what I'm saying? So just like in Portage, it's like, no, I don't care what you think about this parking lot being designated and sponsored by V1 Church, but the mayor said so. So what happens is in the regions that you live, in the spiritual realm, there are rulers. And those rulers enforce what has been designated for that territory by force. As a matter of fact, look at the word in English, enforce. What is it? What's the root? Force. So there is a spiritual battle that's happening over your neighborhood, over your city, over your region, and over this nation. And there are layers of concerted networks of demons that work together. And that's why you see different sin rampant in different regions of the U.S. because it's indicative of the demonic ruler over that region. Are y'all with me? Are you still with me? And so what happens is we got to understand this because God will actually call his people to go into a region to dethrone a ruler, which changed the rulings. But the way that we do it is the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, but the violent take it by. So the ruler of New Jersey has made a ruling about what happens in New Jersey, but we come in and rend the skies. We rip apart the skies violently through prayer and intercession, and we take it by force. We don't ask for permission. We take it by force. There's a ruler over Long Island that's made a ruling that's been enforced by demons. We don't ask for permission. We show up on Long Island and we take it by force. There is a battle that's happening. And so we're using our words to fight people, but we've got rulers enforcing rulings in areas, and we're not doing anything to impact the heavenlies, and we're not getting results. But this church is going to be different. This church is going to have schools everywhere we have a building. And I'm telling you, and we will take the mountain of education and we will have schools where we have buildings, come on, and we will not just be a church that exists within the realm of religion, but also we will continue to have movies and we will infiltrate the entertainment industry, and we are an apostolic mission that is going to permeate culture and deal with the things in the heavenlies and dethrone principalities and powers. And I'm not wasting my words on humans. I'm going to send them into the heavens to take out the enemy, and we will change the areas we live in. For far too long, we've had revival in the building, but not around the building. This is a message about reformation. And the way that you reform a society is it has to be entrepreneurs saying, my full-time ministry is my business in the marketplace. It's got to be ubiquitous, but we can't keep fighting other Christians and expect to dethrone rulers. So silence becomes an arsenal. Silence becomes a necessity. Silence becomes a tool that we use.